How do you define success?
I died. Well, a success is created by hard work, and uh, you have to you have to set a goal. You have to first of all, in your state, you don't know exactly what profession you want to get into, so you're all mixed up. So I believe in young people doing trying different job sites. I think they have a name for that, but you find things you want to do or you're interested in, you pursue them, and when you find one that you really think is going to fit your comfort zone, because you have to get up every morning bright and early, go to the job, and put up with the stress of the job, and mine was the people. I did the work itself, and the confusion of repairing a wrecked car wasn't my challenge. But my challenge was at a certain time in life, I wanted to have a net worth where I could sit back and enjoy life at my time frame of my, so I set a goal to have an achievement of a certain amount of money set aside. And so Marilyn and I could travel and do things we wanted to do. But in our case, we ended up raising the second family, so we didn't get to do the rewards of my goals. Well, that was one of a couple of them, but my goal was to just have a comfort zone when you get into your late 60s and 70s. So that was my achievement, which I achieved that set. Actually, I worked an extra 5 years because I really liked what I was doing, and I had excellent clientele. I had this. We were doing third family wrecked cars. The people of your parents' ages were raising kids like they were, and they had accidents, and I had the privilege to fix them. So that was part of my success in my goal setting to achieve where I'm at. I hope I answered that.
Yeah, you did. You did. That's perfect. For the next question, where did your inspiration come from?
Well, that kind of falls back in the same area because I didn't know basically what I wanted to do, and it goes back to trying different things. Like I had an experience one time for 3 or 4 years, my parents sent me to Idaho to work on my grandparents' farm. No pay, just food, and that got me out of their life because they were going through a very, very strenuous time when I was in my early teens. They were going through a hard time with their business. So they sent me to Idaho and sent me some money with me for my grandparents to take care of me. Well, I got the opportunity to milk cows, run a hay baler, run a Caterpillar, and learn how to run tractors and Caterpillars, and I was only like 12, 14 years old. But when it comes to farm life, you start young. You do everything in a pre-teenage life as an adult would do.
Yeah.
And so I learned then that I didn't prefer to milk cows or raise chickens, or I didn't mind the baling and the tractor work. I liked the mechanical part, but they never repaired anything, so I didn't get experience there, which I learned from the shop downtown, watching my dad's employees fix cars, which gave me an inspiration to. That's when I learned I really preferred mechanical or on-hand things, or things from making my mind create things, and then my hands would follow through and make the finished project.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. For this question, how did you move from idea to something that actually succeeded in the market? I guess you could talk about was it the bumpers or the frames for vehicles?
Well, yeah, when it happened then, we started the shop. I probably was going in and out of there through junior high and high school because we had a housekeeper that raised my sister and I. So I'd go downtown because it'd be more, go home and you just have to do homework and be told what to do by the housekeeper. So I went downtown and then rode home with one of my parents in the afternoon, late afternoon. So that's why I would watch the guys in the shop. And one day, one of my dad's closest friends who had worked at the Ford Museum, Ford Factory, I keep saying museum, but Ford Factory, had moved into California from Detroit. And my dad had met him along the way somewhere, and they always had kind of stayed in contact. When my dad started the shop, he hired him, and he would look at her, stand around and walk a car for about half an hour, just evaluate the wreck, the impact, the penetration, and what is depth under the sheet metal, and or on. He would go through a mental process of how deep the impact went. And then, so when he started fixing the car, he would just reverse the accident and come back out and put the new parts on the exterior. So one day he had a car with a bent frame on it, and my dad told me to take the tow truck, and now I think I was 16 at the time, and take the car over to about 8 blocks from the shop, which happened to be an old cow barn with a dirt floor, and have the frame man fix the car, finish straightening the car. So I watched him put a chain around the car and around a telephone pole, and he got in the car and took off real quick, come to a dead stop, and that was supposedly how you fixed a frame in those days. So we took the car back, and it was real close. It was close enough to finish the car, but no one knew if the car was really straight or not. And to this day, I still see cars going down the road on the freeway at an angle, which means the car was out of diamond. That means one frame rail was ahead of the other frame rail. And that's where I learned that there is a better way to fix cars than to hang time to a telephone pole. Well, there just happened to be some 10-ton pumps and rams around the shop and some old chains. And so I just practiced on things bent was bending them back just to get them straight and measure and I try to tram them out. We diamond check them or measure a crisscross or a left. I couldn't go too much up and down, so my dad bought me some frame gauges so I could go up and down, and then I could do the diamond and the up and down. And so I just started by fixing frames with they had made a 20-foot rail. It's actually still at the shop. It's 6 inches high and 4 inches across, and they put oak in the middle of it and then welded it. And that would put a jack and run it under the car to push the frame up or down, or we'd put it on stools on the side and run rams to the side using leverage to bend the frame left or right on the sideways. And I just self-taught me that, and then I started fixing cars for other shops. And then in the late 60s, they come out with a Rambler, which was a unibody, which are the cars today. And so we had to buy a frame machine, and that was like $60,000 in-debt process. And so I started fixing cars for our shop and a dozen other shops in the immediate area.
How did you organize your team?
Okay, what happens there is it would be no different than what you're at now as you're looking for a job. So a lot of times they put the word out you need an employee, and the different shops would, they like to get paid by the hour. Some shops are production shops where the employee gets 60% of the car repair and the shop gives 40, and we were an hourly. So I couldn't really compete with those shops so much because I was into quality and craftsmanship. And so what would happen is we'd already had, when I took the shop over from my parents, there were already some employees there, and then I put the word out for other people, and then they were familiar with cars and wanting to do the market, and I asked them how long they wanted to stay in it. They didn't know, so I said, well, then you can come and go to work, and I'll see what your ability is, and we'll build off that. And so actually the two people that worked for me when I quit, Robert was there, I think, 12 years, and his brother was there about 4 or 5 years. And I just taught them everything they had to do on the car. They just followed my instructions, and I don't think they had them. I didn't ever had them do any framework, but they were fender and sheet metal bumpers, and it sometimes helped me take glass out, and some not very minimum upholstery. And Robert was ended up hired as a painter, and his brother was an understudy mechanical painter. And we did we worked as a team, and then we had a guy by the name of Mark Tingley, who was actually a full-time painter. So when you have a painter, you have to have somebody help get the cars ready. And then I was doing the heavy mechanical. I had to have someone help me. Well, Robert helped me. Louis helped me, and Robert helped Mark get cars painted. So we had a real good program there for 4 people.
Yeah, that makes sense to have it 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
If you could have, what would you have done differently?
I would have, what I would have liked to have, not a lot, but what I would have preferred to do is I joined service clubs because I'd lack where you're at. I didn't go to college. I lacked the ability to speak my opinions on or how to perform myself or set myself up to be at a podium to talk to people. And so I was considered myself shy, and I don't really consider myself to be around other people because I just want to do things my way on my time. Mm-hmm. And so I would I kind of went to instead of finishing college, I joined the service clubs, and then that way I could learn and pick how they ran their businesses and structure their life to make their business stronger and go ahead. And so what I did, I just followed into the procedure of for one thing, that gave me the support to help teach painting, because I was from the shop and I wasn't around people, but now I have 20 people want to learn how to paint a car. And so now I had to sit at the podium and talk to them for 3 hours on student instruction, and then they had shop class for 4 hours. So I thought if I stayed in college, that'd give me more input on how to structure myself in front of people and instead of using simple words, use some more complicated words. But then as I went through the years, I found out shop people they're just simple talk people. So I would have gone to college. Something I would have accomplished is making myself a more stronger, supportive, structured person at the podium.
Okay, I really like that. I don't think we discussed. You didn't really mention that last time.
Not that way.
Yeah. What makes a great entrepreneur?
Oh my God! You asked me this time, and I just I don't consider myself in that market. I title myself as a mechanic or garage guy. I've been gifted to get this far in life. What made me the strongest is my wife. She kept me in focus to get where I'm at. And that's a pretty fancy word for a garage guy. So I don't have a straight answer for that.
Think of it as self-made.
That's very true. Very true. No, that goes back to the first question.
That's true.
I was raised in a family with a business, and I could have walked on it, or I could have stuck with it, and I stuck with it. It wasn't easy, and if I hadn't had Marilyn in my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So it's a team effort, and she gave up an awful lot for me to be what I am. So.
we kind of discussed this, but what role did education have in your success?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What role did education have in your success? We
Oh,
kind of have
okay.
discussed this.
You know, in high school, I was so excited about architect that I had actually hooked up with a teammate in class because we had to work as a unit, a team in the art class. And it just happened that the girl that I hooked up with, her dad was a high-end architect in San Francisco, so she had all the answers. And so she and I had gone through the class so fast. We were 4 months out of the class, so we had to tutor. And so that would open my eyes to educating and why I should have stayed in college. But, to answer the question, I don't think college would have changed my life. It's
Yeah.
maybe a little stronger person on resolving problems verbally. I think it would have been more of a personal structure thing. But I don't think it would have, I wouldn't have been sitting in a better position in life than I am now.
Yeah.
I also might have found somebody else. If I'd stayed in college, there are too many young women going around when you're single. And I'm really happy the way everything ended up. I'm 80 years old, but, everything fell right into place. It's just I've had a beautiful life, and I still have a beautiful wife.
I love
Happy
that.
wife, happy life.
I love that. Love that. Okay.
Well, you ended up with a mother.
That's true. That's true. It took me a second to
You
understand.
were sure quiet on that one for a minute.
It took me a second to understand what that meant. Sorry, I could have interpreted that multiple ways. What's the most?
I don't mean it in a negative tone.
No,
I
no,
meant it
it's
in a
not.
positive
Yeah,
tone.
yeah.
Okay. The most important question you didn't ask me?
Yes.
Oh gosh, Michael, I thought it was going to get easier, not harder. Well, it's making me flashbacks of what I just said. I sit here and I'm sitting at Meryl's desk in the office, and I'm looking out in the backyard that I never thought I'd ever see in my life. And when I walked you through to get here, I had a lot of aches and pains and a lot of ups and downs, but the lack of education in college didn't make it any better. The downsides didn't take me down, so I get to sit here in a beautiful home with a pretty wife and an excellent life. And plus that, I got a couple of bonuses. I got some super neat grandsons. So, and I'm flattered I get to even talk to you on the phone. That's kind of like an honor of all my years of
That's sweet. Thank
watching
you.
you